vacate, lad, and let the division crack on.
Interim's a genuine title.
The people who say it's not a genuine title have never won a title in life.
Yeah, people keep saying, oh, you're probably going to end up like Tom when you win it, it'll get upgraded. And why would that happen though? Because people are saying Ilya's not going to be back for at least a year. I don't know, lad. I want to show everyone that I can beat him, but at the same time, if I have me waiting, like Tom was waiting for John, then no. Just vacate, lad, and let the division crack on.
I think it should be Paddy and Ilya. I think that's
The energy in the arena is absolutely electric as Arman Tsarukyan drops a bombshell that caught everyone off guard. This interim championship bout just got personal and Tsarukyan went ahead and laid his cards on the table. He's openly rooting for Justin Gaethje to demolish Paddy Pimblett because he thinks the Liverpool fighter would run from him after winning.
Justin Gaethje is fighting Paddy Pimblett coming up. Who do you favor?
I want Justin to beat Paddy. Yeah.
Here's how we ended up with this wild situation in the lightweight division. The current undefeated King Ilia Topuria stepped away from competition to deal with some heavy personal stuff, mainly going through a messy divorce which left the entire weight class in complete chaos. The promotion decided to roll out an interim belt while Topuria sorts out his life. This move sent shockwaves throughout the MMA community. What really stings is that the #1 ranked guy got completely frozen out of this whole thing, but Tsarukyan isn't sweating it one bit when it comes to his title aspirations, despite being stuck on the sidelines for this particular fight. He's radiating confidence about getting his championship opportunity before this year wraps up. Though the exact timeline remains pretty murky, his gut tells him there's either a summer showdown or a December title fight waiting for him. The big question mark hanging over everything is when exactly Topuria plans to make his comeback.
Justin, he's gonna fight with me, but Paddy, if Paddy wins, he's gonna try to avoid me and trying not to fight me because he's not man like just.
The betting landscape delivered one of the biggest curveballs anyone's seen. When the bookmakers first dropped their numbers, Pimblett opened as the betting favorite, which had people doing double takes across the board. Laura Senko, who's become one of the most respected voices in UFC analysis, actually had to confirm what she was hearing because seeing Gaethje as an underdog seemed absolutely insane. While Senko definitely respects Pimblett's toolkit and the diverse weapons he brings into every scrap, making him such a massive favorite, didn't compute when you look at the massive experience difference between these two killers. Now that we're deep into fight week, those betting lines have remained rock solid with Pimblett sitting at -225 while Gaethje holds at +185 across all the major books. These numbers reflect a public sentiment that's been surprisingly immune to the typical fluctuations that happen when sharp money and fight week developments usually move the markets. The fact that these prices haven't budged suggests genuine conviction from the betting public that the fresher, less battle-tested fighter represents the safer investment.
Which he is, I believe, currently around a 2-to-1 favorite to do so.
He is?
Yeah, a little surprising there. I know he opened as the favorite, and people are like, I had Eddie Alvarez on the show, and he's like, he loves Justin Gaethje, obviously, and he's like, once I go to the sports book, Justin's not going to be the underdog anymore. My bet's going to change it alone, but clearly not. A lot of back Paddy in this fight.
That's fascinating. I mean, it's not like I think Paddy should be some ginormous underdog. No. But that number being so far the other way does surprise me. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it does. But then I look at the stuff on Justin's side. I don't know if you saw that thing about the ingrown hair, the staph infection. That's one thing. Trevor Whitman just did an interview with Brett Okamoto at ESPN, basically saying like, this is it for us. If we don't win this, we're not sticking around for money fights or super fights, like kind of applying that pressure there. So I kind of worry for where Justin Gaethje's mind is at, because he was going to hold out and retire if he didn't get a fight like this either, it seemed like.
Yeah. I just think Justin is so experienced, so violent, so he brings an element that none of Paddy's past opponents has had. That being said, there are times where, I think there'd be a lot of opportunities for Paddy to get a submission. So that's what makes it a compelling.
Some drama popped off leading up to this event when social media detectives spotted what looked like a suspicious mark on Gaethje's neck in some footage. The rumor machine went into overdrive with whispers about possible staph infections, which is nightmare fuel in combat sports since these things spread like wildfire. Gaethje jumped on social media fast to shut down all the chatter, explaining it was nothing more than an ingrown hair that was healing up just fine. He seemed genuinely annoyed by people trying to manufacture some health scare storyline, which makes total sense given how paranoid the organization gets about these situations.
Gaethje has staph. Justin Gaethje has staph. That's it. He's totally compromised. He's gonna lose to Paddy. Oh no! I mean, look at that on his neck there. That is just disgusting. Gaethje, man, cover that up. I don't want to be looking at that. Now, Gaethje's come out and said it is an ingrown hair, and breath hanging out of my mouth, Nostradamus. That is a big word for you to be using, Justin Gaethje. I don't even know what that means. You might be low-key a scholar. Getting punched in the face, you might be the first person who's getting punched in the face a lot and somehow become smarter. Now, I know people are going to be saying built-in excuse, yada, yada, yada. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It doesn't really change much. I've already predicted Paddy's going to win. I've already predicted that he's going to absolutely annihilate Justin Gaethje for a multitude of different reasons, right? We already know that Justin Gaethje has, like, no BJJ. It is non-existent. Bro almost got submitted by Rafael Fiziev. Do you know how bad at grappling you have to be to get submitted by Rafael Fiziev or come close to it? No, this guy's cooked. If this fight touches the ground, it's game over. On the feet, at least Justin has a chance to land something, but the problem with Gaethje is that he's just not very precise with his shots. Like, he's not very good at actually landing the shot where he wants to. Like, yes, he's landing knockout shots due to his power, but he's not a precise puncher, like, at all. I think that Paddy's going to try to maintain the distance. He's going to utilize some of his crafty kicks, and I think he's going to eventually try to shoot a takedown, which he doesn't even have to get all the way. All he has to do is get Gaethje's back. If he gets Gaethje back, it's a wrap. GG.
The retirement angle surrounding this fight adds massive emotional stakes to an already loaded event. Trevor Whitman, who's been in Gaethje's corner since day one, got brutally honest about what comes next depending on how this plays out. The legendary coach laid it all on the line, announcing this represents their last championship run tether, stating flat out that a loss means walking away rather than sticking around as a divisional gatekeeper. His exact words hit hard. I'm not afraid to say it straight up. This is our last shot. If we don't win this fight, we're done. We're not going to hang around being a gatekeeper, chasing money fights and all that. Justin will fight again, but he knows he's got to be there for his family. He's got to be smart and protect his health. But if we win this belt, my dream scenario would be, let's go for multiple title defenses. We don't have the title right now, so we've got to go get that gold first. Michael Bisping threw his hat into the prediction game by backing Pimblett to get the victory. The former champion turned analyst broke down his logic, giving Gaethje credit for having cleaner boxing fundamentals and superior grappling credentials, though that ground game stays mostly hidden in his fight. Bisping noted that even if Gaethje decided to use his wrestling, taking Pimblett down would create its own dangers given the Brit's scrambling ability. The key factors in Bisping's breakdown: at 31, Pimblett remains in his athletic prime with relatively minimal wear and tear from his career. Meanwhile, Gaethje has absorbed years of absolute warfare and striking battles.
155 pounds. I don't see anyone beating Ilia Topuria. I just don't. Not Paddy, not Justin. Yeah, all right, there's Arman Tsarukyan out there, and he's the dark horse. Obviously, Paddy and Justin are fighting for the interim title. That's an interesting fight because Justin, better boxer, better wrestling, never uses the wrestling. Even if he did use the wrestling, you wouldn't really want to take Paddy Pimblett down. Paddy's a lot younger, a lot less miles on the clock, a lot less wear and tear. I'm kind of early leaning towards Paddy Pimblett in that fight. But who's the undisputed champ at the end of 2026? So yeah, 2026, Topuria will still be the champ. Yeah, there's Arman Tsarukyan out there, but I don't think that fight will materialize just yet.
Pimblett has entered this fight radiating supreme confidence, predicting he'll finish the veteran opponent in devastating fashion. The Liverpool native has been grinding extensively with teammate Luke Rockhold throughout this camp to sharpen his finishing instinct. Rockhold brings an incredible finishing rate from his flawless UFC run, and Pimblett is convinced this partnership has elevated his technical striking game to levels that surpass what Gaethje displays in competition. The game plan involves using range management to keep the power-punching veteran at bay before exploding forward with devastating combinations. Pimblett expressed genuine shock when studying tape of how frequently Gaetib absorbs clean shots throughout his fights, suggesting this defensive hole represents an exploitable weakness.
Oliveira, but you know what I mean? It's a new style for him. You're not just the typical up-and-coming scrapper brawler that's going to get into a fun scrap with Gaethje. There's more intricacies to your game with the grappling as well. So how do you think you're going to get this one done?
I think I finish him wherever the fight goes, to be honest. Obviously, I know he can bang, but every fight we get a breakdown made of our opponent, and it actually shocks me how much he gets hit. And I know he takes one to give one, but you can't really just do that at this level. That's why he's lost to people like Eddie Alvarez, Dustin Poirier, Charles, because you can't just take one to give one. And I'm not going to just be standing there to let him hit me back. You know what I mean? So be using me range, keeping him on the outside, and I've got a feeling I'm going to knock him out, to be honest. I don't know what it is. I've just got a sneaky suspicion I'm going to knock him out. You know, I've been doing a lot of rounds with Luke Riley for this camp, and Luke's got much better technical striking than Justin Gaethje, and I'm having a lot of success sparring with Luke. And obviously one of my coaches, Ellis, who used to fight himself, he's the exact same build as Justin. He's 5'10" with a 70-inch reach, and I've been doing rounds with him. He's literally, because he doesn't fight anymore, lad, and he's just a coach, he's just done Justin's style for me. He hasn't got his own style. He's been doing Justin for me, and just the bits what we're working, I can see me knocking him out or dropping him and then submitting him. People are going on about his takedown defense, but if I want to take him down, I will take him down, lad. Simple as. But I can see myself dropping him, ending up on top and either TKOing him or submitting him or TKOing him a ground and pound.
Michael Chandler delivered perhaps the boldest take, not only picking Gaethje for this fight, but also predicting he'll go on to beat Topuria in a future unification bout. Since Chandler recently shared the octagon with Pimblett in London, that first-hand experience revealed nuances that casual fans might overlook, like Pimblett's reach advantage, dynamic kicking arsenal, and composed mentality under fire, while Gaethje brings a violence and danger that few fighters in any division can match. This bold prediction of Gaethje defeating the unbeaten Topuria, a fighter Chandler previously described as possibly the most technically complete athlete in the entire roster, shows his tremendous belief in the Veterans Championship destiny.
Also have been on record and said that Paddy Pimblett is better than a lot of people think he is. You know, because of his, his haircut and the way he talks and the, some of the, the strength of schedule. People don't give him a lot of credit, but when I fought him in April in Miami, I'm not going to say that I was surprised, because I was expecting the best version of Paddy, but he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's got long reach, good kicks, pretty darn patient and composed in there. But Gaethje's a whole different animal. So if I had to bet, which I can't, but if I had to lean one direction, I'd go Justin Gaethje, interim champion, and then he beats Ilia Topuria later on this year.
Tony Ferguson offered psychological insights that went deeper than pure physical analysis. He highlighted the mental baggage Gaethje carries from his two previous failed title attempts, suggesting these experiences create an emotional burden that resurfaces in championship moments. The weight of repeated heartbreak contrasts sharply with Pimblett's fresh excitement about experiencing his first title shot without the ghosts of previous failures haunting him.
It's not bad, dude. Paddy's not bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again, Paddy's in for a new treat, right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. He's going in there. He's going to be trying to, get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more fresher. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness in my.
Uriah Faber examined who performs better when technical skill deteriorates into chaotic warfare. While both fighters willingly engage in firefights, Faber identified a specific trait in Gaethje's response to chaos, appearing genuinely energized when fights devolve into madness.
Pimblett and Justin Gaethje, who do you favor in that fight?
I gotta go with Gaethje. I feel like he's the one that loves to get down and throw fist for fist, and he's also got the Division I wrestling to negate some of the biggest skill sets of Paddy. Paddy's a very dominant grappler when it comes to submissions. I think Gaethje has the tools to keep it where he wants it.
Daniel Cormier expressed frustration about the matchmaking itself, arguing Pimblett's rapid rise reflects marketing priorities over athletic merit, particularly when compared to Sarukian's more accomplished resume.
They're just basically saying Paddy's more popular, you're getting it over Armin.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, right? And that's, I mean, God, I hate like how I kind of get into this too much, but I mean, that's really like, that's the definition of, you know, a monopoly where a single promoter owns the title and the rankings. And it's not a good thing for the sport, in my opinion. And I have to question what it's going to do for the longevity of the sport. You know, I don't think in the short term it's really going to make a big difference, right? Like, you know, it's going to sell the next fight, right? It's going to sell the next pay-per-view. But trends tend to come and go, right? Fads tend to come and go. At some point, like, you know, to have staying power and lasting power, I think it requires, you know, a meritocracy-based system. It's going to require, you know, some, you know, if you want to bring in guys like Armin Sarukian or Movsar Evloev, I always mess up how I say his name. You want to bring in these Olympic wrestling level guys. I mean, they don't want to have to go out there and put on some ridiculous show to become a champion. They don't want to have to go on Instagram and start a podcast and make you know, whatever kind of skits on social media and this silly kind of stuff. Like, they just want to be a world champion because they want to be the best athlete. And that's what makes me wonder how the staying power is going to be, right? When you're dealing with guys that are, you know, legitimate athletes that want to be legitimate athletes, and they're getting passed up by guys that are entertaining.
Eddie Alvarez, bringing unique perspective from defeating Gaethje years ago, emphasized that preparation matters more than raw talent. He warned that Gaethje's suffocating pressure proves impossible to truly replicate in training, creating risks that Pimblett might be unprepared for the actual fight night reality.
8 years ago, what's like the first thing that comes to mind when you think of that fight with Justin?
That I'm glad it's over and I never want to do it again. I'm like, the fans don't ever ask for a rematch or anything like that, because that would have never. I'm like, I'm glad. He's unique, man, and he's one of my favorite guys to watch. So like, but if you want to beat Justin Gaethje, you have to. So he's a forward fighter and a pressure fighter that he will stand in the pocket. And he's gonna throw everything he got in that pocket. If you don't meet him, you'll get chewed up. So Paddy, the way to beat a guy who like does this, very violent, aggressive pressure fighter, you have to meet him. You have to throw when he throws. So you got to be brave, and you have to go when he goes in between his shots. If you do that, you got a fair shot. If you don't do that, if you're not brave and courageous and throw when he throws in between his shots, it's going to be a really long night. It's going to be a hard night for you.
Renato Moicano predicted Pimblett would win by submission unless Gaethje scored an early finish, claiming the odds undervalued the ground game advantage.
Up, you know? Yeah. I think 5 rounds. If this is the common take, everybody gonna say that, not only me, but if Justin Gaethje doesn't stop him on the beginning, he's going to lose. I think everybody thinks like that. And I think Paddy Pimblett will beat Justin Gaethje. That's what I think.
This combination of perspectives, predictions, and storylines transforms UFC 384 into far more than a standard interim title fight, representing career crossroads, promotional politics, and the eternal battle between experience and youth in combat sports.